Hey, it's Lou Bortone, and we're back with the Video Bunch, our mini video summit, and I am absolutely thrilled to have Ernesto Verdugo with us. Am I saying your last name correctly? Verdugo.
Verdugo.
Verdugo. Okay. So, Ernesto, I have to say, of all the folks I've met in the last few months, you are definitely one of the best people to know and to meet. You're like incredibly well traveled. You're what, the 247th most traveled person in the world. You're a speaker. You've done TEDx, and you've helped me and many others quite a bit with YouTube. So thank you, first of all. Thanks for being here. Thanks for doing this. And
My pleasure, Lou. I'm excited to be here.
tell folks a little bit more about what you do aside from obviously the keynote speaking and things like that.
Well, I help speakers, experts, authors, entrepreneurs, CEOs become a key person of influence. That means that they are omnipresent online. I mean, if you search my name, you're going to see that there's over 750,000 results that talk about me in Google. If you go and search for my images, you're going to see that I am absolutely everywhere.
Mhm.
And that is very important, because at this point in time, what happens is that people are gonna be looking for you. And right now, this is so important that you need to be people need to find you, and they need to verify that you are indeed an expert. We just entered November 30th, 2022. We just entered into a completely unknown territory with ChatGPT that you possibly have talked
Yep.
about. And I don't want to divert too much on that,
Yeah.
because of course it's a complete another thing. I want to actually stick to the YouTube thing.
Yep.
But if right now the content could be created by artificial intelligence,
Right.
how are people going to verify that indeed that you're an expert, that you're really the person that you say that you are? If you
Yeah.
have a very weak um, footprint on the internet, a digital footprint, your brand is pretty much worthless.
Right.
That's why it's so critical what I do, and YouTube is the number one element on how I do that.
Yeah, that's a really good point because I think now with the sort of this generic chat GPT, everybody may be producing the same kind of content. When folks go to check you out and vet you, they're going to go to YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook, and that's where they're going to find out if you're the real deal, right? So you have to have that footprint.
Exactly. So that's why it's so important that you have, that on the background, but you also know how to use YouTube
Yeah.
to generate more business for you. And I think one of the first lessons that I would like to share with all the Video Bunch gang is that you don't have to worry about having gazillion subscribers on your channel. And that's one of the things that I think it's a misconception.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot compare apples to pears. I mean, I have been in the self-help industry for a long time. I cannot compare myself to Tony Robbins.
Right.
And that's one of the things that, I mean, I hope that everybody understands. I cannot compare myself to Les Brown or to Brian Tracy. However, if we compare both of our channels, we can
Yeah.
see something very interesting. I mean, for example, in my channel, the Speak Internationally channel, which is the name of my company, I
Yeah.
have 1,500 subscribers, which you're going to say, well, this is not really that much. But
Mhm.
in reality, that's not what you should be looking for. And this is one
Right.
of those things that you guys need to learn. It's not how many subscribers you have.
Mhm.
It's the view to subscriber ratio what you need to be checking. So in my case, for example, if I have 1,500 subscribers on my channel,
Yeah.
and every time that I upload a video, I get 1,400 views, that means that I have a view to subscriber ratio of about 95%.
Right.
And that is a very, very important thing. So you should not feel bad because of that. I mean, if my little universe has 1,500 people and 1,490 people are watching my videos, that's great.
Right.
In the case of Tony Robbins, for example, I mean, I respect him tremendously, and I have done a lot of work with him in the past. And one of the things that I've noticed was that he had 2 or 3 million subscribers.
Yeah.
However, only about 140,000 views every time that he uploads a video, which basically makes it view to subscriber ratio of about 8%. So if you ask me, what do you prefer? That in my universe, 95% of the people watch my content, or even if it is bigger, a smaller percentage looks at it, then then I am doing better than him, even though my universe is a lot smaller. So that, I think, for me, it's a big, it's the thing that helped me understand YouTube a lot better.
Yeah, and I think people really tend to get bogged down in those vanity metrics about views and things like that. And I agree. It's not about reaching the most people; it's about reaching the right people for your business.
Correct. Yeah.
What are some of the other common mistakes that people make when it comes to YouTube?
Well, one of the biggest mistakes is that people, what they do is they suddenly wake up in the morning and they say, well, I'm going to create a video, and then they create a video without giving it a little bit of thought. What I teach all my students and all the people that I train on their branding is that, first of all, if they're gonna put the effort in creating a video, they have to figure out if there's an audience for that video, which is, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that people do. So if you create a video and it has a very small audience of let's say 2,000 searches, then possibly you're going to get 10 views. And this is what is really embarrassing in most channels, that they, for example, they create a video and it has 7 views, 9 views, 12 views. That just basically says to the world that you have absolutely no idea how YouTube works. So that is one of those things that is really very important. So how do you overcome that? Well, you have to, first of all, think, if you're going to invest the time in creating the video, is that you're going to, first of all, do the keyword research. And you're going to figure out if there's enough audience to actually watch that content. So, for example, in my case, I always say, well, I will never do a video unless the keywords that I'm trying to actually direct the video have anywhere between 25 and 50,000 searches. If not, I would not do it. Because, of course, it's going to be very limited. Now, I've been increasing the number. For example, before I was saying, well, I'm going to start in 10,000, 20,000 searches. If it doesn't have 20,000 searches, I will not do the video. But right now I said, well, the best results that I have had is on keywords and specific terms that are above 50,000 searches. And that, of course, the moment that I started creating content, which are on keywords, which are around that level of search, my channel just simply grows every single time that I upload a video. So the first thing that you need to do is you have to do your research. The moment that you have done the research, then what you need to do is you have to create the thumbnail. And that's another of the big mistakes that most people do wrong. I mean, they create the video without having an idea if it has an audience or not, and then they create the thumbnail with their funny face, like, and you go like, well, no, that doesn't work like that. What you need to understand is that there's the holy trinity of YouTube, and please write it down, guys, because this is specifically coming from the video bunch from Lou. The first thing is going to be you're going to be focusing on the click-through. Your click-through, it's super, super important. The second part on the Trinity is going to be your retention. How long do people watch your videos? And the next part of the Holy Trinity is going to be your watch time. So if you understand those 3 metrics, you will be able to dominate YouTube. The problem is most people have no idea how that works. And that's another of the big mistakes. So that's why the click-through, which of course is going to start with a thumbnail, and also is going to start with a title. And this is a combination of both, the title and the thumbnail. So I'm going to give you a tip that I only give to my paid customers, but I'm going to give it to you because I love what Lou is doing with the video bunch. and I think that you deserve to know it. So I want you to think of it like this. Don't think of the video title to be a title. Call it a headline. Call it a video headline. So if your headline is catchy enough, like whenever you're writing a sales copy, or whenever you're reading a newspaper, if the headline, aka title, is not compelling enough, and the picture on the thumbnail is not intriguing enough, or it doesn't trigger any curiosity or any familiarity, what's going to happen is people are not going to click on your video. So your video might be magnificent. However, if people don't click on it, guess what's going to happen? Nobody's going to watch your video, and your channel is going to tank.
Exactly. I remember you likened it to a movie poster like Jaws. Tell folks about that kind of example, like using that as a thumbnail concept.
Yeah, that's a very easy way to understand it. I mean, if you possibly are old enough to remember the movie Jaws, or if not, possibly you saw it later on cable.
Yeah.
You might remember the poster that it was the shark coming up, and then it was the woman that was swimming.
Right.
And you didn't know if she was dressed or if she was naked. It actually got that curiosity, created the curiosity.
Yep.
And then you got closer just to see if she was dressed or she wasn't. And then the shark was coming up. So did the shark eat the woman or not?
Right.
That curiosity goes like, oh my goodness, I have to go see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a very important thing, because when you link, it has to be like the first frame of your story.
Right.
So if the thumbnail goes into the first frame of what's happening on your video, then people are going to, oh my goodness, this is very interesting, and they're going to stay further. So if you see on the movie Jaws, I mean, it starts that there's this lady that is taking off her clothes. You still do not know if she's wearing a bikini or not. And then she jumps in the sea, starts swimming, and then she is eaten by the shark.
Right.
And that, of course, is, you can see the link between the thumbnail and the beginning of the video. So that's one of those things which is very important. So once again, what we want to make sure is we get the click-through. So now the next step that we need to get is we have to get the retention. Now, the worst thing, and this is the big mistake that most people do on their videos, is they start their video, hello everybody, how are you? Today is Tuesday, the weather's beautiful. Who cares about that? You have to, if you actually watch one of the videos of Mr. Beast, or you watch, for example, a series like 24, or any of those series on television, they will always give you the most interesting part at the very beginning, and then they will start developing towards what happens afterwards. So you always have to think, whenever you're creating video for YouTube, you have to make sure that you immediately hook and catch the attention to people, and then give them constantly a reason to keep on watching until the end. Because the more that a video is watched, the more that it will be pushed by YouTube. Because what most people forget is that YouTube is not the Mother Teresa of the internet. The reason why YouTube is in existence is because, of course, they are going to be giving advertising. The longer your video is, the more advertising they will be able to serve, the more that they will serve your content.
Exactly. And I know for some people, analytics is a scary thing, but you can find all this in YouTube. It's not that complicated. You go into analytics, you look and see what your, what your retention is, what your click through is. And I know a lot of times it seems like, that they start watching here and then there's a huge drop off. So that's where you say, like, okay, somewhere you lost them. You didn't keep it interesting enough. You didn't have enough of a hook to keep them watching.
Correct, and that's what you have to do. I mean, you have to learn every time that you're doing a video. You have to learn, where did I drop them? What did I do? What happened? But most people don't even check on that, and that's the reason why they keep on doing videos after videos after videos. Now, talking about that, also, I mean, one of the questions that I get more often whenever well, how long should my videos be?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's a very, very good question. Well, the question is not how long should my videos be. The question should be, for how long can you keep the attention of your watcher?
Right. Yep. Yeah, I mean, if you have a video, like I watched a video a couple weeks ago about how to, excuse me, import some Final Cut plugins, and it was 15 minutes, but I watched it step by step and stayed with it because I needed to know how to, put the Final Cut plugins into the editing program. So if it's interesting enough, they'll stick with you.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
the
I
other
mean,
thing I
there's
wanted
a
to,
sorry.
no, I was just going to say the other thing before I forget, when you talk about thinking about YouTube titles as headlines, everybody knows in copywriting that the purpose of the headline is to get people to read the first paragraph, and the reason to read the first paragraph is to read the second. And a lot of times you can do that by looking at tools that you told me about, like vidIQ, and you can go and see what is the search volume for this phrase or term.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. Look, vidIQ it's I think that the number one must go tool. There's another one that is called TubeBuddy. Both of them are equally effective. Let me
Yeah.
just tell you the reason why I prefer vidIQ than TubeBuddy. Because, for example, if I'm doing research on TubeBuddy, it will take me 25 minutes.
Yeah.
While if I do it in vidIQ, it will take me 5.
Hmm.
So if I'm going to be saving 20 minutes for doing that same task, I will take vidIQ anytime.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing which is also very important for people to understand is that if you want to think like a YouTuber, you have to do things a little bit different, because what happens is we are surrounded by marketers. I mean, we are in the marketing world, and I am a marketer and you are a marketer.
Hmm.
But YouTube, especially when you're actually creating content, should not be really thought like if you will be a marketer. Now, one of the most important commands that you can give, for example, to ChatGPT is act as if.
Hmm.
Act as if you will be Morgan Freeman, and it's just incredible. I mean, ask if you act as if you will be Drake and create a song
Yeah.
for me. I mean, it's just really funny how it all works. But
Hmm.
anyway, let me just come back to the act as if. Act as if you will be a YouTuber and not act as if you will be a marketer. Let me tell you why. If you check also your analytics, one of the things that you need to figure out is where is your traffic coming from? And in most cases, YouTubers will try to get YouTube to recommend their videos. So if your content is actually being recommended
Hmm.
by browse or by any other function except of search, that's going to be very, very useful and very powerful. Therefore, when you are actually looking for keywords and different things that you're doing, you want YouTube to recommend your video, and that's going to be because of your title, your headline, however you want to watch it, because of the keywords that you're actually using as your tags, because of several other things. So one of the things that you want to always think is, how can I get YouTube to recommend my content? Not really to rank
Yeah.
in search, but more than anything, what can I do so that YouTube can recommend my content?
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that we should probably mention is, and I learned this from you, is that until you kind of hit that minimum 100 subscriber mark, YouTube's not going to recommend anything because they basically don't know you exist.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it is. Well, right now they have changed the rules, which I think it's always also very important. You know what? Another, and I'm just going to drop another great tip. When you enter into your dashboard from your YouTube channel, there's these little videos or little news that are always plugging there.
Yeah.
And I never used to pay attention to them
Hmm.
until, somebody told me, that's gold, because basically it's the only social media platform, if you want to put it that way, that communicates all the great news. I mean, for example, if there's a change in Facebook, we have no idea. If there's a change in LinkedIn, we have no idea. YouTube lets you know weekly what's going to happen, what are going to be the trends, what is going to be coming up. So one of the things that I recommend you is that every time that you get into your dashboard, you watch those little videos.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll take you 3 minutes, and they are 1 or 2 a week. And they're worth, because then you really understand how it works. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because that's how I figured out
Hmm.
that there were new things happening in YouTube. So right now, in order for you to get your channel monetized, you don't only you need 4,000 hours.
Yeah.
You need 1,000 subscribers. But right now, if you are a shorts
Hmm.
a creator. Right now, I think you need X amount of views in your shorts also to get monetized. So they
Yeah.
have now a third, but that is an optional thing. I didn't know anything about it. Now, actually, if you see on the dashboard, it's now completely different there.
Right. And YouTube wants you to succeed and is basically telling you how to succeed if you watch the videos where they're saying, we changed this, we added that, with shorts, there's been a lot with that. First, they were really, really emphasizing it. Now they seem a little bit less so, but it's a moving target. So I know it's always a little tough to keep track of. But like you say, if you watch those videos that YouTube creates for you, you'll stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about I know we've all been talking about Chat GPT and certainly for copywriting and things like that, but what kind of effect could it have or how might you use it or not use it for video?
I think it's incredible. But right now, what I have been testing and working a little bit on is ChatGPT. I think is going to change this year and the years to come
Mhm.
dramatically. But the thing is, very few people understand how to communicate with a robot, and that's exactly what it is. It's basically like learning another language.
Yeah.
The more specific you are, and there's also different commands. For example, you can get GPT on God mode, and then of course you can ask some really profound questions, and you can do all sorts of different things. But what I think is, for example, very interesting. I am creating a project right now. I'm creating a video right now, a sales reel right now for a
Hmm.
project that I am doing with very famous TV anchor and Univision, the Spanish language television.
Yeah.
And I wanted to create the script of a reel, specifically, talking about the different problems that entrepreneurs and business owners are having, et cetera, et cetera. So I gave all the commands. I put this whole thing. I said, well, act as if you will be Morgan Freeman,
Mhm.
because of course, I mean, I love his voice whenever
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
narrating. I gave all the different instructions of what I wanted to do, and within a matter of seconds, it pulled through the entire thing, very neatly described. Like, for example, scene one,
Yeah.
John is on his desk and he's very worried, and he has to be from this, and it has to be done like this, and it has to be done the other way. And then the narrator is telling these things. So when you say create a reel, now it's completely giving an entire a different perspective of this. Now, if I see over that, because of course it knew that Univision was a big company, they thought that they had a big budget. So I told him, well, yeah, but I don't have the big budget, and I don't have John as an actor to actually act this kind of thing.
Mhm.
Now tell me how to do it with B-roll. And
Yeah.
he changed it and completely put it exactly with B-roll. And then was telling me, well, you can get B-roll of these of a person doing this and that and the other, and starts putting the whole thing. So it's just absolutely amazing what it needs to be done. And one of the things that I am now also doing is I am teaching the different commands that I have learned to everybody. Well, like for example, the act as if,
Yeah.
or you can also. I mean, there's several.
Hmm.
Right now, I don't have my command list to me, and it's actually a very new thing. But now, what I am teaching is all those little bits and pieces, because the better that you know how to talk to the computer, the more effective it will actually be. And
Yeah.
that is, I think, is going to make a big difference on not only on creating videos for YouTube or whatever, but in any project that you are creating. So it is super important that first of all, you keep on growing your YouTube channel so that you have a strong presence, because very soon we are going to be competing not only with Tom, Dick, Harry, and Mary and Sue, but also with all the robots.
Yeah. Exactly. That's amazing. So tell folks how they can find you, work with you, what you've got coming up, anything you want to share.
Yeah, well, I will be absolutely delighted to give you a 30-minute assessment of your YouTube channel. I'll take a look at it. I'll see what's right. I'll see what's wrong. I'll tell you all these bits and pieces on how you can fix it. I'll spend half an hour with you. We can. I'll be very. You have done this with me. That's how
Yeah,
we actually got.
yeah,
And you know that it's that 30 minutes is just full of value.
right.
So
Very direct, and you tell it like it is, and you're doing this wrong, you're doing this okay. This stop doing this.
Correct. So if you want me to help you with that, just go to bettercallernie.com, like in the show
Better
Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, Better Call Ernie.
Perfect. Excellent. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up? This has been tremendously valuable. I really appreciate all your help that you've given me and our Video Bunch viewers. People can find you on LinkedIn, YouTube, obviously.
Yeah, I am very easy to be found. As I was telling you, I mean, if you just Google my name, you're gonna find I am absolutely everywhere. So you can find me there, and I'll be delighted to help you in any way I can. I believe that we are a generation, our generation, Generation X, and baby boomers, whoever are watching, which are also baby boomers, and even many millennials
Hmm.
are having some difficulties coping with what Generation C is doing, and I think C for Zebra is doing, and I think it's also very important that I support our generation. So anything that I can do to help you, I'll be delighted.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for your insights, and we look forward to seeing you online again. Thanks.
Thank you, Lou.